Hello Georgetown, I'm Beverly Enos and this is Spotlight Georgetown. You can find us Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. That's our standard time. Sometimes you'll see us at other times, but those are the ones you can always find us. Now this is part of your own cable TV program, so make sure that you come down and come and watch a taping. Come and learn how to use the cameras. We have all of the equipment and we'll be more than happy to train you, teach you how to edit things, and you can do something for your own nonprofit and take a look at what's going on here in Georgetown. Now today we're talking to Ruth Eifert, and she is the librarian and is probably a bigger library director of the Peabody Library here in Georgetown. Not the public library, the Peabody Library. We just got that straight. Now,
our official title, Georgetown Peabody Library.
Do you actually live in Georgetown?
No, I don't. I live in Hampton, New Hampshire, where my husband is a librarian in the town of Hampton.
Really?
Yes.
Is that how you two met?
No, we actually met in college, but before library work.
Okay. Okay, library work. Education. What kind of education do you need to have to become a librarian?
To become a librarian, a bachelor's degree first of all. And to become a professional librarian, you need to get a master's degree in library science, which I received 20 years now from Simmons College in Boston.
And then director, is there another education part that goes with that?
Nothing
or is that
else
just coming up the
officially
ladder?
Required. To become a professional librarian, you'd need to have a master's degree. Right now, I'm the only one on the library staff that has a master's degree. And based on the size town, the state has certain requirements at levels of education that they need to see in their directors. So we're at that level, so I have a master's.
What library did you start at?
My first job was at the Billerica Public Library in Billerica, Mass.
Okay.
And that was a couple weeks before I graduated from Simmons. And so they hired me as I was a cataloger and a reference librarian, both. So my responsibilities were actually both. I did all the cataloging for that library, plus I worked on the reference desk. So it was a half and half job. I was there for almost 11 years.
And then you came to Georgetown?
Well, then my husband and I took a year off and we went to Scotland for a year. We lived in Glasgow where he furthered his education at the University of Glasgow. That was just a year. We came back and I did a short stint at the Wilmington Public Library, and then I became the director here. So it's actually 10 years. This January, this year, I finished in Georgetown. So I started in 2002 and we've just completed 10 years.
And the new library, meaning the rebuilt library, is how old this year?
In September will be our 5th anniversary of being in the new expanded library.
Expanded library.
Yes.
How long has Georgetown had a free public library?
As early as 1868, 1869 is when George Peabody first gave money for the original library building, which was actually on Library Street. You know, Town Hall is one Library Street, but there's really no library on Library Street anymore.
And where was it
and
when
that
it
building was where the commuter parking lot is now.
Really?
On Library Street.
That was the original library?
On that side was the original building. That George Peabody gave money. They laid the cornerstone. There was the Peabody Memorial Church in that parking lot on East Main Street.
Okay.
And when they laid the foundation for the church, then they also walked to the back of the lot and laid a foundation for the library.
And it was actually built there?
And it was built there.
I always wondered why that was called Library Street with no library.
Yep, the library was there until 1904, 05. They built the library over at Lincoln Park, which is where we are now. They didn't actually occupy it until 1909, but there's a little story there.
Oh, you forget how long that building was around before we started tearing it down and moving it around. And
the building on Library Street, from records that we've seen, was there until about 1912, and then it was taken down.
Okay.
But we moved into the Lincoln Park, which is where we are now, which in 1909. And then we expanded the building in 2007. We moved into the expanded building. So it was 100 years at that spot before it had any real improvements made to it.
Because it's a beautiful building.
It is.
It was
gorgeous.
a beautiful building before,
Absolutely,
but now it's just a bigger,
spectacular. The historic, the
building.
columns inside the main library, and we kept the original shelving that was there. We kept the original circulation desk, although we're not using it.
And the original shelving that was there, is that now the reference area?
No, it's actually the fiction collection.
Okay, so that's where fiction is now.
Yes,
All right.
yeah. And the original library, you can still go in there. That's our, we call it the silent study area. So after school at 2:22, when the students come over, we try and keep the old library as a silent study area. There's several tables in there, comfortable chairs for reading magazines and newspapers. We try and keep that silent area, and the rest of the building is a little less silent, so quiet area, which gives us some kind of leeway there.
Are there still people going, shh, you're in the library?
We try not to. We try to change those stereotypes. We're trying to change the stereotype of librarians little by little. We try not to shush.
Well, libraries
we have to.
are totally different than they used to be.
We're such family community spaces anymore that, it's not realistic to expect it to be quiet space. And if you have come into the new building and you see the open foyer with the skylight and the common area where everyone comes in and drops off their books of circulation, the children's room is right there, a stone's throw. And we're happy to see the children. We're happy to see the little ones, and they're so excited to come in. They come in for story time. They run through the foyer. It's not realistic anymore to keep it as a shushing place. So I try not to wear my hair in a bun too often, but sometimes you just have to do it. And the glasses so I can read.
Now, we were talking a little bit before we started taping that libraries have changed in that it's no longer just books.
No.
People don't go to the library to only take out books.
Right, right.
Is it still the primary reason that people go, or?
It is. I think primarily we are still all about books, but it's not just books. We've added DVDs in the collection. We had VHS tapes, which now that nobody's using VHS anymore, we've gotten rid of the bulk of those, at least in the adult collection. Books on CD, where we used to have books on cassette. We're slowly getting rid of the cassettes because more and more cars have CD players, MP3 players. You can now download audio books. We have a special program through Overdrive where you can download audiobooks. You can now download EPUB books for e-readers, and Kindle books you can download free from the library.
Really?
Oh, absolutely.
So if you have a Kindle or a Nook, same thing?
Or a Nook, any kind of an e-reader.
You can come to the library and you can get free books.
You don't even have to come to the library. You just log in from home to the library website, click on the tab that says Overdrive, go to that site,
and then
download
you don't have to pay these companies for the books.
No, absolutely free.
Wow.
It's part of what the library does. And that accounts for a lot of our circulation. People borrowing audiobooks, borrowing EPUB books, borrowing DVDs. It's the bulk of our circulation right now, it's kind of interesting. I get statistics, of course, I've got statistics like crazy on our circulation. But we have about 38% of our collection is children's materials. The circulation is children's materials, 38%. 33% is adult books. The rest of it is magazines or DVDs, cassettes, audio media things.
Okay.
Yeah, and the EPUBs are they just started. Kindle Access just started in September, and the circulation statistics for those numbers are going up in the 30 to 40% every month.
Because I know so many people that have them, and they're still paying all this money to go get the books.
We don't have nearly as many as your online sources do, where you'd have to pay for them. Obviously, Barnes & Noble and Amazon are big. We don't have nearly that many, and you may have to go on hold just the same way you would for a bestseller book. You have to go on hold and wait for your turn to download, and you'll get an email that says you now have 3 days to download your book. You log back in, you download your book. If you've got a Kindle, you don't have to do anything. You just simply download it. It's amazing.
Cool.
It's really cool.
Yeah, totally different. The other thing we were talking about earlier, I said, no more Dewey Decimal System, and you said, there is one.
Oh, yes.
It's still there.
Yeah, we're not getting rid of Dewey Decimal.
But no little drawers and little cards to go through.
No card catalog, I'm sorry. No card catalog. It makes great scrap paper.
Yes, I can imagine.
But it makes things a lot easier for us, where we used to have to sit down with a typewriter and type out 5 or 6 cards for a book. Because you have the author, you have the title, you have a subject heading, several subject headings, a series if there was, so you'd have to potentially type 5 different cards at one time and then file them before anyone knew you had that book. Now we put it into the computer once,
and it automatically goes everywhere.
Searches everywhere.
Okay.
Bringing to another point, if you are online and you want to get an email, we just have a brand new service called Wildberry, Enjoy your newest books, DVDs, CDs. This will send you, if you sign up with this company, they will send you an email every week of everything we've added to the collection each week.
In your library?
In our library.
In our library?
In our library. In our library, yes, in Georgetown. It will send you an email free of charge. You'll get an email and it'll list all those things and there's subject headings. So if you're just looking for children's books, click on the children's book link. It'll give you a list of titles. They're linked to Amazon, so you get a little book title. You see the little book there. And there's a little button that says borrow. And if you want, you click on the borrow button. It will take you directly to our catalog where you can then put a hold on that item because we just added it to the collection. It's brand new. Put a hold on it and we'll let you know when it's available. It's really, really cool because you don't even need the card catalog. You don't even need to come into the library now to see what's new. You get the email, they'll tell you each week, and each week is something new. So every Wednesday the email goes out.
Oh, I got to tell Dad about
brand new. It's really cool.
There are two groups that actually go to the running, basically the running of the library. One of this is the trustees, and one is the friends of the library.
Right.
So there's a big difference between the two. Let's do the trustees first.
Yes, yeah. The library trustees. It's a six-member board. They're elected officials, so you elect 2 of them every year for a 3-year stint. Their task is the financial side of the library. They oversee the budget. They're responsible for overseeing that. They are responsible for writing policy in the library. We have an internet policy. They write that policy. We just recently wrote one for gallery space, a gallery policy saying, who can hang their artwork in the library, what kind of requirements we have for doing that. Because we have brand new gallery space. We have gallery rail with a wire system for hanging pictures. And so they write policy. They help to enforce the policy. If I have issues that I need to raise, I bring it up with them.
So
any
that's
major
a town
purchases,
board.
That's a town board. They're elected officials. The Friends of the Library is a nonprofit corporation, 501c3 corporation, and they are tasked with raising funds for the library for a variety of things.
Funds other than what would be budgeted
other than what is
from the
budgeted,
tax money.
Right. The trustees would oversee the municipal appropriation that the town gets as a town department. The Friends is a completely separate entity. They fundraise for the Friends for programming for they fundraise for the library, programming for the library. They pay for museum passes, which we have 6 museums that we offer discounted passes to.
Still do that?
Oh, absolutely. The Friends pay for the bulk of those. We also get a grant from the Cultural Council, the Georgetown Cultural Council.
So what museums does that cover?
We have 6 different museums. The New England Aquarium, which is available September through June, and that's the museum's rules, not ours. That's a half-price ticket. The Museum of Science, the Boston Children's Museum, the Children's Museum in New Hampshire, and the Peabody Essex Museum.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and they're available every day of the year, with the exception of the aquarium, which is September through June. But every day we have a notebook at the desk. Give us a call, tell us what day you want to go, and there's 1 pass per day per museum. And did I mention the Museum of Fine Arts?
No.
Yes, well,
So
they're
that's
the 6th one, yeah. I'm going to say the Museum of Fine Arts and the Peabody Essex are for 2 adults because generally children 16 and under are free at those museums.
Right.
The other 4 museums are for 4 people. Most of them are at half price. So when the aquarium, you're talking $24 a person.
Yeah.
This will get you in for $10 a person. So yeah, it does make a big difference for a family of 4.
So the Friends pay for...
The Friends pay for most of those museums. The Georgetown Cultural Council has paid for the New England Aquarium the last few years. So
they're totally different things. One is just generally raises money for things that do not come from the budget.
That's right. Okay. Things outside of the budget.
Now, who can use this library?
Absolutely anyone who lives in Massachusetts.
Massachusetts? You don't even have to live in Georgetown?
Nope.
Okay.
Massachusetts public library system, Massachusetts laws allow you to use any public library in Massachusetts.
How old do you need to be to get a card?
We don't have any age restriction in Georgetown. Okay. Generally up to grade 6, we ask for parent signature on the application. 6th grade and older, anyone can get a library card. In Georgetown, we ask for proof of residency of Georgetown to get a Georgetown card. If you live outside of Georgetown, depending on what community it is, we'll issue you one of our cards, which you can use within our consortium. If you have a library card from Beverly or from Boston, we can use that library card. If that's where you live, if you live on the South Shore and you want to use something while you're here, we'll register your card and you can return it to us, or you return it to the South Shore, and eventually it'll make it back to us.
All right. Now, is this a free card, or do people
free
have
card.
to pay? Free.
Free card.
So libraries are still free.
We are still free. Well, your property taxes pay. We're a
Well,
town
that's right.
department.
We are paying. We are paying somehow.
Yep,
We
we're
always
a
are.
town department,
Yep.
but yeah, our funding comes through the town. So as much as that is free, yes, we don't charge for regular library services.
The last
That's
time
a
I was
state requirement, by the way,
oh, I can imagine.
that we're free.
The library has an area that has computers
We do.
that anybody can come in and
anybody
just
can
log
use.
in and use the computer.
We have available public computers for public internet access. We have 8 computers upstairs in the adult area, and there are 3 computers in the children's room. The children's room computers actually have a filter on them.
Oh, good.
For their protection. Yeah, the 3 computers down there.
Now, what if someone has their own laptop and they want to bring it in to do work on?
We have Wi-Fi throughout the building.
Really?
Yes, no charge.
Again, no charge.
We even allow you to plug your laptop into a power if you need it.
Oh, okay.
Which, you know, when we had a lot of power outages and such, and people didn't have power in their homes, we usually have it at the library. So you might see folks here plugging in,
Well, I can
charge
imagine.
the cell phone.
Who decides what the library buys for its collections?
All the staff that work in the library decide that. The children's librarian and her assistant choose the children's materials. I generally am the person that chooses the adult materials, but I take input from all of my staff. I have a couple people that do actually help me place orders for things. We take suggestions all the time. We love to get suggestions from people. Say, have you got this? Have you got that? And if it's a bestseller, yeah, we most likely, if we don't have it yet, it's coming. But we love to take suggestions from people. And we take donations from people too, which is another way.
That was the next question.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
I jumped again.
So
Yeah.
you take suggestions and donations?
And donations. We take donations.
Donations of books or donations of money?
Both.
Both?
We won't say no to either.
Okay.
Book donations, people bring donations in all the time, and we recommend they bring them in when we're open, just because it's sometimes
Don't
a
want them to
burden
get wet.
on the book drop. No, they can drop them in the book drop, but then we have to sort through them all. Is this ours or not? Is the barcode just hidden somewhere? So we'd rather you bring them in when we're open. We don't add everything that's donated to the library. It would be just not possible to add everything that gets donated. We go through things that are donated, things we need in the collection, we'll add to the collection. The rest of them we give to the Friends group, which have book sale twice a year.
To raise,
To raise money for the library.
Okay.
Yes, it's a full circle. You know, we take donations, we give them to the friends who then make donations, who get donations for those things, and they come back to us eventually.
What about gifts and bequests?
Gifts and bequests we take. If someone wants to get a tax deduction, we recommend they give it through the Friends, because the Friends is a 501c3 corporation.
Okay.
The library's not. We do take donations. We do have a memorial gifts account that we have kept monies from. We've had various groups. The Country Gardeners give us money just about every year, and obviously they'd like us to get gardening books, so they give us the money. I can buy, my money goes further than an individual's money, because I get good discounts on my books and materials through my book distributors. So, you know, $50, I can get, you know, 3 or 4 books, where if you had $50 and went to Amazon, you could get 1 or 2.
All right. So that makes more sense?
Yeah, it makes more sense for us to do the buying and do that. And so I think last year we had a little presentation. They bought some books in memory of someone. So we had the books on display, and they had a little book plate in them. It was very nice.
Does the library have collections?
You know, as special collection type of thing, yes, we do. We have a Georgetown history collection, which we now have a real room set aside for Georgetown history. There isn't a lot of Georgetown history to be collected. We'd love for someone to write us a new history and get us caught up for the next 100 years. But we do have a local history collection. There are some books about Georgetown. We carry town vital records. We have a microfiche reader printer where you can look at the microfiche and look at the old records.
Town reports?
Town reports, absolutely. We have all the town reports back to, I think, 1890s. which
Okay.
at that time was just a financial report.
I may have a couple more for you.
Great, we'll take
I
them.
do.
Yeah, and this couple years ago, the school contacted me, the high school said, do you want some yearbooks? And I said, yes, please.
Oh, wouldn't
so
that
they
be neat?
gave me all their extra yearbooks. So now we have most of the Georgetown High School yearbooks from about 1956 to the present.
Oh,
Well,
even-
we're
that was
missing the
even
last
before my
couple of
time.
years. But before that, all I had was maybe 6 or 8 from the 1980s. So now we have a lot fuller collection of yearbooks, vital records, newspapers. Yeah,
kinds of
it's a
things.
great little collection.
I
yeah.
can imagine. And there is a special room. I was in there
There
once
is.
and they had the little white gloves and
Yeah, we
all
still
that
have
kind of
white
stuff.
gloves if you want to use the white gloves, depending on what you're touching. Yeah, this is always a good idea. Sometime over the years, one of the librarians, and I haven't quite figured out who's the guilty one yet, but someone collected Civil War books about all the various regiments.
Oh,
and so
wow.
we've got this really cool collection of regimental history of the Civil War.
So if there are any Civil War people out there,
Yeah.
come on down. What kind of things are you looking for
Oh gosh.
other than money?
Other than money. Now, we don't always look for money either. You know, we do with what we have, and we certainly keep up with the collections. It's interesting. A couple of our strengths in the collection, we have a really good gardening collection, and it could be because we've had faithful support from the country gardeners over the years. But a fantastic gardening collection. We have another great cooking collection.
Okay.
So those are areas that, if you look at the collections, we belong to a consortium of 35 libraries that our catalog's all tied to. We have probably one of the best gardening and cookbook collections in the consortium. So that's just, since that's where our strengths are, we really try and keep up with that, with those areas. What we're looking for, we're really a popular materials library, so anything that's in the popular vein, we could always take, especially when there's a new bestseller and we don't want to buy 10 copies of the newest bestseller, because once that hold list is gone, and what are you going to do with 10 copies? So if we get donations of really new books after you've read it, donate it to us. We add it to the collection for 5 or 6 months. It helps our hold list go down,
Okay.
and then we take it out again and sell it at the book sale.
Which puts money into something else.
Exactly. It's that little circular thing again. What goes around comes around. Right?
For a while, when the library was under construction, part of the library was actually moved to Elm Street.
Yes.
Not all of it, because it wouldn't fit.
That's
number
right.
one.
We took about a quarter of our collection, about 10,000 items we squished into that. If you remember 5 Elm Street, on the corner of Elm Street and East Main Street, 10,000 items roughly we pushed into that building. The rest of the collection, which was about 30,000 items, were all in boxes. We put them in a semi-truck trailer, which sat in the parking lot at Elm Street for the 2 years that we were over there.
That's what was in that trailer. Okay.
Yeah, about 1,800 boxes.
It's a lot of boxes.
It was amazing. It was absolutely spotlessly clean truck and had no leaks, no water problems at all. And 2 years later, when we moved into the new building, there was only one box that got damaged during that 2-year time. And it happened to be a box of foreign language dictionaries, which were easily replaced.
Yeah. So everything had to be boxed up from the old library, either put on Elm Street or stored at Elm Street,
Right.
and then brought back to the location and put back on shelves.
Exactly. We had a whole phalanx of volunteers.
I can imagine.
When we packed the building up in 2005, September of 2005, most of the staff and about 15 to 20 volunteers helped us. Took us 2.5 days to pack the collection into these 2,400 boxes. And we had them separated, 1/4 of them to the new space and the rest of them to the storage. And then 2 years later, when we moved back into the new building, we had another 15 to 20 volunteers that helped the staff. We had them all color coordinated, what's for children's and what were adults and what were reference and what were local history. Yeah, we had it all planned. It was a lot of fun. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I actually ended up visiting the Middleton Library because they were a couple months behind us construction-wise, and so I went and instructed or taught their staff how to pack boxes and how to lay them out within the stacks so that you could get them out and in, because they did pretty much the same thing. They were just a few months behind us. So
The one thing that I love when it was reconstructed was what used to be the back of the library had that round wall, and the wall was kept.
Yes.
That was just...
Yeah, that's one of my favorite aspects. I like to stand up on the second floor and look across at the old library, see the exterior of that building, and the places that we cut through the building. There were only 4 places we had to cut through, but on the upstairs where you can see the brickwork from the exterior, we only cut through where there used to be windows. And so the brick detail that was above the windows is still there, so you can see in the walls the brick detail over the cuts in the side. It was really cool.
Yeah, they
Really cool.
did a great job. Now that took a couple of years to reconstruct.
Yeah, the construction was only a year, but we had some delays. We had to go out to bid a couple of times to get the bidding price that we could afford.
Okay.
So that was part of the delay, but the actual construction was really only a year. It was just that
They just
half a year
put
before and
the
half
other
a year the end,
Right.
that delayed us a bit.
Now do you have space that people can come in and use, like a meeting room or a showroom, or
Sure.
what type of spaces
now we
do
have the gallery, right?
We have the gallery. I'm going to talk to you about that afterwards.
We have a meeting room. It's just inside the front door. The meeting room is now our new gallery space. It can hold up to 80 people seated. We also have tables and chairs. The Friends have had events in there that they've actually had almost 70 people seated at tables for a little breakfasty brunch kind of thing. They had a special author program. So it's possible, they had seated for a meal, a small meal. So that meeting room holds up to 80. It has a projection system and a screen that comes down. We actually show movies in there. In fact, next Friday we're showing Puss in Boots.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
From 1 to 3.
So you show children's movies. You show
we show adult
movies?
movies too. Right now we're trying to keep things G-rated or PG in a pinch, because we want it to be a family movie time.
Oh, that's
so
nice.
nothing more than that yet.
So that's on Fridays.
Well, that's going to be this coming Friday. Well, actually next Friday during school vacation
Okay,
week,
so
which
school
is next
vacations,
week.
people can kind of watch for something like
Yeah,
that. Maybe in the
yeah.
summertime as well.
In the summertime, we're going to try and have a few more movies. We've been having them periodically throughout the year. There is no regular schedule yet.
Okay.
But that room, that's what we intended it for. So we have the projection system that plays the DVD.
Now, can people rent that room?
We don't
like if
rent
somebody
it.
wanted to have a business meeting or a seminar?
We
or...
don't rent the room. Our policy, a meeting room policy right now, is for meetings that are free of charge and open to the public.
Okay.
So if your meeting would fall under that criteria, contact us. The meeting room is busy. It gets heavily booked.
I can imagine.
We have also, since we're a town, we're part of the town department. I have let town departments use the space. The fire department used the space a couple evenings a week. They were training their new EMTs, and so
Okay.
they use the space. The high school uses the space for their AP testing in May, and they're there from 7 a.m. until 12. I said, "Here's the key."
I'm not going to be here.
I'm not getting up that early. So yeah, it's and with AP testing they have specific rules how big the tables have to be, how far apart the tables have
Oh,
to be.
yeah.
So they need a goodly space to do that, and it gets the kids out of the school and in a testing atmosphere.
Yeah, which
And
is a lot different.
The library doesn't open till 2 o'clock on most Mondays and Wednesdays, so for them it has worked out real well.
How do people find the library on the web?
Well, that's pretty easy. I know you said you had problems, but
Oh, no, I don't have...
Georgetown Peabody Library, if you do that search, we're georgetownpl.org, and the PL is for Peabody Library.
See, that's the part I missed. I was looking for public.
Yeah. Yeah, georgetownpl.org. We also available through the town website. When you're on the main town page, the georgetownma.gov. The library catalog is actually the first link you see on the town homepage. That'll take you right to the catalog, not necessarily to our website, but to the catalog website. So,
Is there anything that we've missed? I think we've covered pretty
I
much
think
everything.
we've covered pretty much everything. I told you about Wildberry, which is that weekly email you can get. If you go through Wildberry, and it's sponsored by the Friends, they pay, it's a subscription that
Okay.
they pay for. They're sponsoring it, and if you get the email and you get onto Wildberry, there's a link on there that says, click here before starting your Amazon shopping. It'll take you to Amazon, and if you do your shopping through that link, the Friends will get part of the proceeds
A percentage.
from Amazon.
Nice.
Yeah, not enough to pay the whole fee for the year unless we add to our population exponentially.
Well,
but it's something, you know, something to help them. But you have to go through the Wildberry link. We're on Facebook. Georgetown Peabody Library's on Facebook, and if you don't subscribe to Wildberry, the Wildberry link appears on Facebook if you're a friend of the Georgetown Library. So that's kind of it. Other than statistics, I thought you might be interested to know that last year, 40,000 people came into the Georgetown Library.
really?
I have a people counter that counts people.
So 40,000
40,000 bodies came into the library last year, last fiscal year.
Do we know how many hits we get on the internet portions?
No, I don't have that
Okay.
statistic. That
40,000.
statistic. 40,000. Year before that, we had 36,000. So it's
For a
going
town
up.
that has about 8,000 people, that's a lot.
That's significant.
That's very large.
Yeah, that's a lot of people coming in the doors.
Yeah.
And I know that it's not counting everyone, because if a mother comes in with a stroller or if the toddler in hand, it only counts one.
Okay.
So I know there's at least,
There's
every
some more.
time, yes, there's a few more.
There's some more.
When the students come in after school and they come in groups of 3 or 4, I usually only get 1 or maybe 2 hits, and I know there's 3 or 4 bodies there.
It's just how it picks up.
It's just how it picks up, yeah. So, but 40,000 is not too shabby. That gives us, for all the days we're open, 170 people per day that we're open.
And what is your schedule?
We're open Mondays and Wednesdays, 2 to 8.
Okay.
Tuesdays from 10 to 8. We're closed on Thursday, open Friday from 10 to 5, and Saturdays from 9 to 1. 33 hours a week we're
Okay,
open.
so you're-
3 nights, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday till 8.
So
And
plenty of time for the kids to come in after school,
plenty of time.
but then also time for the working people to come in after work.
After
or
work.
coming in on
Yep,
Saturday
and
as well.
especially for meetings that are in the evening. Meetings right now, we ask that they end by 8 o'clock. With previous arrangement, we can arrange for you to stay until 9 o'clock. We just need to know, if you had to have a meeting in there and you wanted to do 7 to 9. If we know ahead of time, we arrange for the custodian to be there so that you can have your meeting just a little bit longer, because we know 8 o'clock is a little early for meetings
Yeah,
to
true.
end the meeting when you can't start it until 7.
Yeah.
So we've made those arrangements.
Okay.
But
I think the most interesting part of this whole thing for me is all the things that you can do now online.
yes,
And with the
an awful
Kindles and the
lot.
Nooks and
well,
all
and,
of this type
and you
of...
can go online through the catalog. You can request your books if you're up at 3 a.m. like I was this morning. Say, gosh, have I read that book yet? And you can get onto the catalog. You can surf through the catalog. You can request items. It's like, oh, well, Georgetown doesn't have it, but it's over in Tewksbury. I'm not driving over there this afternoon, so you can put in a request for that item, and it takes just a couple of days to get to us. And if you're set up with an email, then the computer will actually send you an email saying the book is now in the library. Come on down and pick it up. You can do practically everything from home. The only thing right now you have to do is physically come in to pick up that item, unless it's audio or EPUB. Then you download it when you get the email.
Wow.
So yeah, you can do it all in and out of the building, and it's no longer books.
I know. It's no longer only books.
No longer only books. Yeah.
I'd like to thank you very much for coming in.
You're
This
welcome.
has been great.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us.
Okay.
Now, don't forget, either go to the library or go online.
Yes.
I'm one of those. I still like the paper books.
Okay.
I still like a paper book to read.
Me too, but I have an e-reader.
I'm Beverly Enos. This is Spotlight Georgetown, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. Thank you for joining us today. Bye for now.